Freedom of speech is not freedom from consequence.
Freedom of speech is freedom from legal consequence. That's the definition of freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech, in the way that you're talking about it, is a pipe dream. Sorry, Megan Rapinoe, this is not online abuse. I just don't like you as a person. I don't want to talk to you about race. The whites of this country, I've started to feel as though they're being threatened. I saw loads of things about Trump bringing back segregation, but I didn't do any research into it at all. I looked at it and I
That's
thought,
ridiculous.
okay. But I didn't look at anything to do with it.
Because it's ridiculous.
So I don't know exactly what it is that he's trying to segregate.
Nothing. It's ridiculous.
Euros 2025. It stayed home, but so did the racists. I'm Garcia.
And I'm Izzy.
And welcome to Informally Informed. So today, all right, I want to talk about racism in football.
Okay.
I watch a lot of football. All right, a hell of a lot of football. I think it's fair to say that most of the only time I really watch TV is football. I support the best team in the world, Arsenal Football Club. But that's...
I mean, did the results show that?
I'm not doing this with you. You don't even watch football. I'm not even going to go there.
I'm just saying the best
We came second in the league. I will accept this. We've come second for the past 3 years. But, you know, we're building. And I feel like this is our season. I know I say that every season, but I really do feel like this is our season. The season kicks off on August 16th, all right? But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm actually here to talk about last week or the week before, whatever. The Women's Euros took place. Yes. Okay. England won.
Yes.
Again.
In penalties, which is the best part. I'm not gonna lie.
God. After the Sweden penalties, I thought, this is fucked. And then when Beth Mead had to retake her penalty.
My God, I know, right?
I was sat here with Jenny and we were watching it. And I was like, I can't watch this shit. I can't watch it. England and penalties,
I thought we'd
not
lost.
synonymous.
When she was told she had to retake that penalty, I thought that's it. We've lost this.
So did I. Did I. Only for Chloe Kelly to come out of nowhere and bury it. Anyway, so during that time there was Jess Carter. She's a central defender, but we'll see. She played terribly. All right, I will accept that she played terribly in some of the games. The last game, she smashed it. She kept that team going in the last game. But there was incidents throughout the Euros wherein she was playing terribly. And instead of just criticising that she was playing terribly, there was a lot of online discourse about her race that kept coming up. And here's what I noticed, and this is why I suggested this topic, right? When I was watching the World Cup in 2022.
Yes.
Saka missed a penalty, right? He didn't play terribly. In fact, he was one of the best players on the pitch. But as soon as he missed that penalty, they started questioning his ethnic background. And by they, I mean the media. I mean social media, really, because it's exploded on social media.
People on the internet, basically.
On the internet. Started questioning his nationality because he missed a penalty. I've noticed that this is very it's very specific. They don't do this when, say, if Cole Palmer missed a penalty, which he was in bad form until the Club World Cup, all right, and he missed so many shots, so many penalties, and nobody was questioning his ethnic identity. And I've noticed that this is a trend that happens a lot. So there was a period of time wherein the 1970s and 1990s where racism was rampant in football, especially like football firms. Football in firms. Have you ever seen the film Green Street?
No.
It's about these football hooligans, which we call firms, right? And they would meet after the match and beat the shit out of each other in the name of sports.
Yeah, football hooliganism is quite
rampant.
Yeah.
But in the 1970s and 1990s, racism was rampant, especially in the stands. Black players, such as Cyril Regis, which is well before my time, but John Barnes isn't. I remember John Barnes playing football. And Paul Ince, they were regularly subjected to monkey chants. banana throwing, and racial abuse. In more recent times, so the last two seasons ago, at Napoli, I can't remember which player it was. I can't remember his surname. He had to leave the club because one of his fellow players posted an 8 picture on X and tagged him in it. And then this is what I'm talking about in football and in media. This is not just being pushed by the media, the mainstream media. Or social media. This is being pushed by individual players. It's that thing of you think it, therefore everybody else has to experience it. Do you know what I mean? He was their best player.
So when you say the mainstream media, you're not talking about the newspapers.
No, I'm
BBC,
not talking about... No.
Anything like you're just talking about what people are posting on social media.
I'm talking about what people are posting on social media, considering we have the Online Safety Act, considering we have what I call the thought police, and yet they're getting away with this. Like, high-profile male and female players of colour are frequently targeted on social media. Like I said, Twitter/X, whatever it wants to be called now, Instagram. And studies by the PFA and Kick It Out reveal that players of colour are disproportionately targeted, especially after controversial games or losses. It's usually when you lose. When you lose, then they're not British anymore. But when they're winning, they're the best British player that's ever lived. I'm just like... This, for me, I know it's a bit of a reach, but I don't care. This is akin to me of people beating their wives after losses in sports games. That's what it feels like to me. You're upset, therefore, you have to go and beat someone else, beat them down.
You're probably not far off there. Do you remember the Euros in 2020, there was a similar sort of thing? And the problem with the internet as a forum is that it makes it seem like they're everywhere. So in 2020, do you remember the Euros in 2020?
Yeah, that was when Raheem Sterling missed the penalty.
There were so many posts that met the criminal threshold.
Mm-hmm.
And I think something like, I want to say like 212 or whatever came from outside of the UK and 34 came from within the UK of the ones that they'd narrowed it down. So, and this is a problem, especially in societies where there's a lot more, it's more acceptable in certain other cultures. And it's getting aimed specifically at, obviously, I'm assuming that the English
Osimhen.
women's is going to be majority
Osimhen.
UK.
That's his name, Osimhen, the Napoli guy that got fucking...
Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
I'm assuming with the women's, I don't know, obviously, that it's going to be majority UK based. But the Euros 2020, a lot of those really extreme posts were not even coming from the United Kingdom. They were coming from elsewhere. And it was a minority of the ones that were coming actually from the UK.
I understand that, but we have specific targets in the UK, specific things that we can measure. So in 2022-2023, Kick It Out, which is the anti-racist charity thing for football, Raheem Sterling's a...
Aptly named.
You know, I'm not saying they were imaginative. I'm just saying that's what it's called. Kick It Out recorded 1,007 reports of racism, a 65% rise over the 2021 and 2022 season, with around 49% being racism and sexist abuse is up by 400%. So sexist abuse is up by 400%, but also at the same time, the last Women's Euros was held in Britain. The women's sport, the women's football as a sport is actually on the rise. So with that comes sexist abuse. I can see the trend and I see where it's going because I want the women's game to be bigger than it is, and with that comes these things.
Can I interject?
Of course you can. No. Go on.
Sexual abuse in the United Kingdom over the last 5 years has risen significantly.
Oh,
there are now women that feel like they can't walk down the streets in certain areas.
I was going to say that.
So without beating around the bush, do you think a lot of this rise has something to do with effectively mass immigration and people come from other cultures and held in abuse?
No, because
Not all of it, but if you're seeing
yeah, but
patterns in other forms of
you're
society.
talking about women generally. I'm talking about women in football specifically.
Women in football, also women generally.
I'm aware, but I'm talking about the level, the experience in women in football generally, not the experience of
the
English woman. I'm talking about the English women's team in football, not the rise of sexual abuse in society.
But if there's a rise in sexist behaviour across the country, and there's also a rise in sexist behaviour within women's football, are you saying that they're not related at all? Is my question.
I'm saying that's too. I don't have an answer for that because I'm not looking at that specifically, and also I'm not talking about.
I'm saying
sexual abuse.
Could be,
but I'm not talking about sexual abuse. I'm talking about misogynistic abuse.
Okay, let me rephrase. Misogynistic abuse has gone up significantly.
Of course it is. Sexism and misogyny reports rose 44% from 80 to 115, many targeting women players online. But like I said, the rise in the female in women's football as becoming more and more mainstream also comes with this level of stuff. But should it? Because at the end of the day, these are players that are representing the country that you're in. Win or lose, we're supposed to be... It's a team sport. You know what I mean? They don't win or lose on their own. But their white counterparts, they don't get the same level of abuse. I mean, Lucy Bronze was fouling everybody left, right, and centre. Don't get me wrong. This woman won the Euros on a fractured tibia. So, But she was just fouling people left, right, and centre. And nobody said anything about it. She got praised online for it. Jess Carter did play badly. However, she is one of 11 players. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she came out and obviously came off social media. She said it was affecting her mental health. And that's the other thing that we don't consider, that these players are still people. They all have families and stuff. Michelle Adjumang, who saved us, she was our clutch player in the Euros. She'd come on in the stupidest minutes at 2 minutes left on the fucking clock and score. And she essentially won us those Euros. Her and Chloe Kelly, the Impact subs, won us the Euros. Yet she still faced a lot of targeted online abuse. The UK authorities and activists raised alarms about the impact on girls' continued participation in the sport, considering that football was banned for women for so long. The US have had a 50-year start on us. Do you know what I mean?
Is the US any good at football?
They're number one in the world.
Oh.
I'm not a big fan of the women's US women's national team, and I know she's retired, but Megan Rapinoe with the purple hair.
Oh, I deserve this woman.
She ruined it for me. The only thing that's bringing me back is that the old Chelsea manager, Emma, can't remember her name. She's now the new women's national team manager, and I quite like her. So, but everybody else, they can kiss my ass. Especially Megan Rapinoe. Sorry, Megan Rapinoe. This is not online abuse. I just don't like you as a person. Nothing. Not that I know you as a person, but nothing I've seen about you makes me feel like there's anything about you except showboating.
So here's the next question then. If you were to post that in a social media post, is that online abuse? I don't like you. Nothing about you makes me want to like you.
I don't like you does not look at her race. Doesn't look at her being a female. Doesn't look at her. It just looks at me not liking you.
So you're saying that's fine?
I'm saying that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion, but do you have to be abusive in it?
No, but there's also no need to, message her directly with any of this stuff. True,
but I wouldn't. I wouldn't anyway.
So the question then is there anything that can be done?
I think that we need to. I think that if the police, we already have all of these things in place, right, to protect Keir Starmer from anyone saying anything about him. He can extend that. It should cover all the public figures, not just Keir Starmer. Not because as you know, I don't believe in government interference anyway. I want it gone.
I thought you
However,
didn't agree with the online safety
I don't,
act.
but we already have it. So let's use it to protect the players.
So you don't like it, but you want to extend the reach that it has.
It already has the reach. It already has this reach. So why is it that the police will come to little old granny's house to arrest her because she said something about the Muslims, but won't go to big old racist man's house when he's saying something about these players?
So instead of stopping the police going from the little old lady's granny's house...
I'm not going to stop anything. I'm saying that we should use the law that we currently have to protect the people that are here.
To crack down on people's freedom of speech.
We already have it. No matter how you try and kill it and look at it, it's already there. So why isn't it being used to extend to look at this stuff? They use it for the most ridiculous stuff. Use it for this.
I don't think they should use it at all.
I don't think they should use it at all, but it's already here. It's already in place. It's something that's already in place.
I'm not following your logic, I'm going to be honest. You don't think it's a good idea, but you want to use it.
Because it's already here.
But that's not... You haven't provided me a reason as to why you want to use it.
But
it's a bad idea.
The thing is...
Bad ideas are bad ideas.
I understand that, but it's already in place. It's like going, I don't like the table, let's not use the table, but you've got hands full. The table's already there.
But it's also a law in the UK that it's still legal to shoot a Welshman from Chester Castle. Yeah, just because it's in law.
It's not a real law. That is common law that's no longer in place. If you shot someone, you'd be subjected to the murder laws. This is different. This is just the thing is, I'm not arguing the pros and cons of the Online Safety Act. It's already in place. It's something that's already come in place. You've got to verify now for porn. It's already there. They already use it to crack down on things that the government doesn't like. So start using it.
So you want them to crack down on the things that you don't like?
No, I'm saying that if racism is illegal, then use that law to crack down on the racism.
Is it illegal?
Yes.
Should it be illegal?
Racism? Yes. You don't think racism should be illegal?
It depends on what you mean by racism.
By judging someone or being... What's the word? Well, you know what racism is. I mean, how do you even define that? You know what racism is. So you think
that... Because, well, it depends on whether you're talking about action or thought crimes.
I'm saying that whether action...
So if I was to go and beat somebody up because they were a different race to me, then obviously that's illegal.
Yes, but so is saying it on the internet. It's already illegal. It's already illegal. If you write it down, it's already illegal. The thought police are already there. So do your jobs.
But the question was, do you think it should be illegal?
Yes.
So you think if you were to talk about a different group of people, that should be illegal? So the conversations we have about Islam or
I'm
Israel,
not writing it down. We're having a personal conversation.
It's going on the internet.
No, because I'm not putting it in a. I'm not putting it in a. There's a difference between talking about someone's
race.
On
the internet. It's going on a social media
I understand what you're trying to say, but there is a difference between talking about someone's race and using it as a descriptor, or their religion or anything like that, and being abusive towards that race. There is a difference between me saying, you're a white woman, you're a cracker. There is differences there. One's derogatory and one's not. One's a descriptor.
I'm saying I think both should be legal. That's what I'm saying.
That's fine. That's your opinion. But I don't think both should be legal. Whilst I don't think that, like, for example, you going out and beating up someone because of their race should be legal.
No,
but I also
GBH,
don't think...
That's
GBH, of course.
But
it's also a race crime if you're doing it because of their race. We already have that enshrined in law.
But that's different from saying a few hurty words.
That is true. However, I think that freedom of speech does not mean freedom from consequence.
Freedom of speech means freedom from legal consequence, which is not the same as freedom from consequence.
But freedom from legal consequence...
Freedom of speech by definition means saying something without government intervention.
However,
if
I threaten you,
that's what freedom of speech is.
But if I threaten you, that's still a crime. It's still a crime. That it's currently a crime
because that's a direct threat.
It's the same difference for me.
But it's not. So if I was to say I don't like you because you're black,
Mm-hmm.
that's different from saying I'm going to beat you up because you're black. So you better watch it.
Yeah, but I don't think that you saying to me I don't like you because you're black should be should be legal. In a way,
think it should be
no,
legal.
I don't think it. I don't think it should necessarily be legal.
So
because
okay,
I sort of think it depends. I think it depends because in society we have people say and do things all the time that are actually illegal, but you do it in your social circles, so it's not. Nobody's going to report you for it. But
in
when
the UK, yes.
In the UK, yes. I'm talking about specifically in the UK. But when you start writing that stuff online, I do think that there should be some sort of recourse from that. Whether it's by law or by the social media companies, I do think there should be some recourse.
So surely it's better to know where the racists are, right? So
well, they know where the little old granny was when she wrote something about
hang on.
something silly.
Yeah, no, and that's not right either. I'm arguing that none of it's right. And you're saying one of it's wrong, but the other bit's right.
I'm saying that the two are not mutually exclusive and the two are very different things.
So what happens when all the racists that aren't allowed to voice their opinion go online and then decide that they're being oppressed because they can't voice their opinion, then go and blow something up?
They do that anyway.
Not really.
Yes, they do.
Not on a scale of any significance.
Why? The only reason that we say that is because every time there's something that goes wrong, some sort of terrorist attack, they talk about it in terms of.
First, is
but
not
it's
allowed.
All a slippery slope anyway, and these things are already readily available. The law already says that if you say hurty things online, like you just said,
and we both have agreed multiple times that that's not a good thing.
But there is a difference between
agenda.
No, I'm saying there's a difference between hurty things online and racist comments. I'm saying that there's a massive difference. That you attack attack her because she's shit at football, right? And she's shit at football, that's fine. She's a fucking black monkey. That's a different thing. That's more than hurty words. That's attacking someone for their race and not the character. That's attacking someone for their race outside of what they're doing, which is football. They're not there to be abused. They're there to play for your country.
True, but what happens when the government then decides that they're going to extend that even further and further and further? It's a little bit by little bit.
The thing is this, the government's going to do what the government's going to do anyway. Us talking about it on the internet is not going to change their mind. However, the law is already it's already in. So use it. Use it. They use it.
But if it's a law that you don't agree with, how can you then advocate that we should be using it?
Because they already use it's not a matter of agreeing or disagreeing. This is not a matter of my personal opinion on it. This is a matter of no, the law is already a thing that's in place.
I understand that, and you keep repeating that, isn't it?
Because you're not understand. I don't feel like you're.
I'm not understanding because you're not explaining it very well.
Okay, but here's what I'm saying. Okay, it's already a law. Use it instead of using it for little old grannies.
It's a bad law. We both agree that it's a bad law.
I'm not arguing about whether the law is good or bad. I'm saying that it's already there, so use it for these things instead of using it just for little old ladies. I've not seen not one person arrested based on their racist comments online, but they'll arrest little old lady for saying something about the Muslims. I'm saying
there's a two-tier system there.
And it's already in place, so they need to be acting in the same way that they would on this particular thing because they act on it anyway. So why do they purposely not act on these things?
I don't think they should be acting on any of it.
That's fine.
It's a bad law.
It's a bad law, and I understand
saying that they shouldn't act on it when it's one thing, but they should on another thing. I just think it's a little bit hypocritical. Is that the word? Hypocritical.
But that's just it's already something that they could use, and they are being hypocritical in a sense that they're using it for one specific things that suits them.
That's
when
true,
you say
but
something
that's not
about the
an
police,
excuse for us to then turn around and be hypocritical.
But I don't care about that because it's already in place. I'm not being hypocritical. I'm saying that you're already using it, so use it for this thing that you said you were going to use it for after 2022, and then you never did. Instead, you're using it to arrest silly people doing silly things. Instead of using it to actually crack down on this stuff. We're becoming an increasingly racialized society. And we're in a place now where, because people see what's happening in America, they think that it's acceptable here. It's been in our society for God knows how long. And every time we bring up racism or anything like that, I find that it makes people super uncomfortable, so they don't know what to say. Or they try and okay it. But the thing is this, talking about it and reading about it in theory is not the same as experiencing it in person. Yeah. And so I will say this, like, it's almost as though I said this to you before in a conversation where I was like, I don't want to talk to you about race. Do you remember I said this to you? I said, I don't want to talk to you about race, because it's almost as though you can theory it away, but you can't theory it away, because the theory and the written situation is not the same as the experience of it. The microaggressions, the dealing with it online, it being the first thing that people see. I work in mental health, right? Sorry, I know I'm on a rant.
No,
but I work in mental health, right? And every single time, the first thing that they talk about is my race. And I have to accept this because I work in mental health. So my argument, the argument that's always presented to me, it's not my argument, is they're mentally ill, blah, blah, blah. Most of them are complex mentis, and yet it's the first thing that they go for. But I can't then turn around and be like, you blah, 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 because then I would be racist. But it's okay for me to accept it. And the microaggressions, the little things, like I was sat on the shuttle bus, and some woman started touching my hair. I thought, this is how I go to prison. But I was polite about it. I turned to her and I said, excuse me, I don't come to your house and touch you. Please stop touching me. It's
did you
rude.
say that to her?
Yeah, I
did.
did.
What did she say?
And she was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I thought it was fake, and I just wanted to see. And I was like, you didn't ask me anything, and we've never met. You don't know me. This is my personal space, and you've just touched me. But I have to accept this in society, because I don't go around touching people's hair. I don't go around touching people.
I don't go around touching people.
But these are the things, the everyday things that don't seem like big deals, but actually, you know what? They fucking are. After a while, they just start to get on your nerves and wear you down. So I'm just like, I understand where these players are coming from, where they're going out and they're just trying to do their job, and then they're still getting abuse hurled at them from the people that are supposed to be supporting them, for the country that they're representing. I mean, Eni Aluko, right? Lawyer extraordinaire. When I was growing up, I wanted to be Eni Aluko. Right? She was a striker for England during the time where England was going to the Olympics. They were making it to the World Cup. We weren't where we are now. That took time to build. But it was situation after situation after situation with the female players in football with this racist stuff. Thierry Henry, one of the greatest of all time, experienced racist abuse in this country. He's Thierry Henry, the GOAT. I'm just like, what's going on, Europe? What's going on? Did you know that they always talk about how black people weren't in Europe or whatever. The Moors used to rule Spain, Portugal, and
Italy.
Yeah, come on now. Stop being silly. Go on. You look like you were going to say something and I went on a mad rant. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So this is the thing, right? Because if you look at the way the society's gone over the last sort of 10, 20 years, and the way that the mainstream media has sort of latched onto this whole Black Lives Matter thing and all this kind of thing, do you think there's been an increase? Because the mainstream media talks about if you are talking to a non-white person about race, you better be careful what you say in case you offend, blah, 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 blah. And they've painted, because when you talk about your experience, they sort of painted this idea of non-white people in the UK as, I don't want to say easily offended, but kind of easily offended. So when you try and bring up race to a lot of people and they get uncomfortable, do you think there's the reason for that partially is because of the way the mainstream media has portrayed the situation? Does that make sense?
I understand the question, except racism has been around for quite some time.
But has the uncomfortableness of talking about it been around for quite some time?
Yeah, I think it has. I think it's become more. The thing is this, right? I didn't notice racism growing up, did you?
No,
I didn't really know what it was, so I didn't notice it until I had my first experience of it at like 18 when I moved up here, actually. I got my first experience when I moved up here and left out of London. Prior to that, it was just something that I'd heard about in theory, because obviously I remember when the Stephen Lawrence stuff was going on, but I was too young. I didn't quite understand what happened. You were also very young. We're only a year apart. But I learned about it in politics. I did government politics. Hi, Mr. Burfield. I did.
He's not watching. He's not watching.
But I did government politics, and I learned about it then. I think that it's not that sensitivities have. I think that there's twofold to this. To your initial question, there's twofold to it. The first one is, I don't think that it's necessarily that people are getting more sensitive. I think people are just seeing it. And I think that because now everything's recorded.
And
you
internet.
Can't do anything.
And social media.
Yep.
Like 20, 30 years ago, I mean, nobody would have been getting abuse online to the same level.
Well, it happened, but it wasn't recorded. Right? So I think that part of it is seeing it more. And then part of it, in terms of the Black Lives Matter thing, when I first started dating Jenny, she asked me about this. And I said, I don't really have an opinion on it. Right? And she found that difficult to believe, that I didn't have an opinion on this. The reason I said I didn't have an opinion on it is not because I didn't. It was because I looked at it as an American issue.
Yeah.
Right? But then it became a British issue. It became something that was on my doorstep. And then from 2020 onwards, we've had the Southport riots. We've seen the increase in the small boats. We've seen immigration's a massive topic. Europe is currently at war. You saw what happened with the Ukrainians when they were shipping out people and they left all black people. That was all of that stuff. All of that stuff happened. It's become more of a talking point, all right? Part of it is that there's a boiling point. There's only so much that people can take. There is. British, black and BAME or whatever it is, black
Asian minority, I think.
Yeah.
Different acronym every bloody week at this point.
I think that because of the government's push to try and sort of do something about this, it's created a situation wherein the Caucasians of this country,
the whites
of this country,
although technically Middle Easterns are technically classed as Caucasian as well. Did you know that?
Yes, Caucasus.
Mm-hmm.
The whites of this country have started to feel as though they're being threatened. All right, and as such, yeah, the population situation where they were like, because it's like 87% or whatever, and they're talking about how the population is like in 50 years there'll be no more white.
So you
people.
think 87% of the population of the UK feels threatened?
There was a study on this. I'm happy to send it to you. It's not about being threatened. It's about the idea that they're about to be lesser of a population, even though they're not. So with that being said, they feel like they're threatened in terms of being wiped out or being assimilated into other cultures due to
some people
interbreeding and whatnot, or interbreeding. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. All of those things are coming to the forefront now, where they weren't before. Before, there was racism, but it wasn't recorded. This town used to have a no blacks, no Irish, no dog situation. That's why there were no black people in St. Helens. Did you know that? Mm-hmm. What we tend to do is ignore our history and whitewash it. That was just a turn of phrase. Whitewash it. And and pretend that these things didn't happen because people don't turn it into a big deal. We have a terrible habit of just carrying on in this country, but it's also a good habit. But it's a bad habit in terms of if you depend on who you moan to or what you're moaning about is, oh, you're always talking about race, or you're always talking about that. But in actuality, it's something that we should talk about, but we don't. And so it becomes hush hush and taboo. This is what happens when you don't talk about stuff.
But it was all over the news.
What was all over the news?
Like Black Lives Matter and like
Yes,
the conversation is
the
being had more now than it ever has been.
Yes, but why now? Because of social media, because of how apparent it is. But then with that has come out all the people that disagree. Has come out with all the racists. I saw a thing on Facebook, and it was about these people that were creating a white town in America.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, because they don't want any blacks or Mexicans there. This is the thing. I'm like, but when the black people did that, the white people burned it down. So I'm like, we just forget our own history. Do you remember we went to Tulsa?
I know.
Yeah, we went to Tulsa. So when the black Americans built their own shit, the white people didn't like it, and now they're building their own shit, and it's like.
To be fair, I'm pretty sure if you did it in today, if black people built their own town in today's society, probably wouldn't get burnt down. I think maybe there's a time thing. I mean, I could be wrong. But
they're probably, but then now the white
people don't just go around burning down entire towns like they used to.
True, but they're now doing that, and also that's the difference. We're not America. They've got a highly racialized society.
Yeah, in California, a bunch of Black Lives Matter activists tried to repeal the Civil Rights Act so they could start hiring based on race again.
And then Trump is like Trump.
But this is
I'm not entirely sure.
They wanted to avoid hiring white people or something, so they tried to repeal the Civil Rights Act. Didn't go through.
I saw loads of things about Trump bringing back segregation, but I didn't do any research into it at all. I looked at it and I
That's
thought,
ridiculous.
Okay. But I didn't look at anything to do with it.
Because it's ridiculous.
So I don't know exactly what it is that he's trying to segregate.
Nothing. It's ridiculous.
Do you know what? I feel like this is a much bigger issue than just football. And do you know what? We'll have to have the racism conversation because I feel like this is what it's leading into anyway. And we keep avoiding it. We can't avoid it.
We don't keep avoiding it. Well, we just have other topics to talk about. Yeah, I know,
but like, I meant in general. So I feel
like... You mean as a society?
Yeah, we need to talk about it. So I'm going to end this here. What I will say is that racism in football is something that is prevalent. It's something that we see every time there's a competition. Something that we see in the Premier League. And we need to stamp it out because there's no room in sports, team sports, or any sports for racism.
But how do we do that without...
That was my final word. Go on.
Oh, I was just gonna add another food for thought at the end. I was just gonna say, but how do we do that without stamping on other people's human rights? That's the question.
Because human rights and all of those things, freedom of speech is not freedom from consequence.
Freedom of speech is freedom from legal consequence. That's the definition of freedom of speech.
But we don't have freedom of speech anyway. So freedom of speech in the way that you're talking about it is a pipe dream.
So you just want to crank down even further?
I'm using the laws. I want to use the laws that we already have in place. Okay. The society that we already live in. Not a fantasy one. The one that we currently have, which we're in. The government interferes in everything. So interfere in this.
Okay. All right. We'll see you in the next one, guys.
See you in the next one. Let us know if you agree or disagree with any of our views. That's the point of the conversation. Join in.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.